From 77, fall of 77 through sometime in 80, I played pretty much every gig he had. And so that was the touring band. I take it that he had toured prior to that, and then had not done as much, and was kind of starting it back up again. And of course, this was like the quintessential territory band from Iowa doing what we call two-beat music. It was dance music, ballroom dancing, with occasional big band tunes. And so that was in essence the band that I played with. We covered a lot of territory. We played Oklahoma City, somewhere in Indiana, just across the border from Illinois. The Flying V Ballroom, I think, in Utica, Nebraska, I think. And I think it was called the Melody Maker in Chicago. Does anyone help me remember that? That was a ballroom where we even did Chicago. And plus this Walford, Iowa on Sunday nights, like from 6 to 10. It was like a standing gig. So I was looking to be the journeyman musician, and Don's band gave me that chance to do that.
I had the pleasure of playing on the last bandstand that Don Hoy appeared before he became too ill to play, and that was in May 1988.
Don was a very good businessman, and on a Saturday night he might have 10 or 12 quote unquote units out of all different sizes, from 5 or 6 pieces down to a trio, in addition to his big band being somewhere, maybe out of town, because he traveled a lot too. Worked all the ballrooms.
Don was always promoting music through his band, through the combos he would book. At one time he booked so much around the state, it was mind-boggling.
When those combo jobs were booked, I don't know exactly whether they threw darts at a dartboard or a Ouija board, but you really never knew. You took the job and said, I'll be at the Hotel Fort Des Moines at 9 o'clock on Friday night, and you really never knew who and what was going to be there with you.
I came to Des Moines in the fall of '69, and I had played in dance bands in Rochester, New York, matter of fact, for a guy named Len Hawley that would book combos all across Rochester. Come to Des Moines and figure I can make a couple extra dollars, so I look in the phone book and I see there's Don Hoy and Ralph Zarno's name, and for some reason I send a letter or call Don Hoy and introduce myself to him. Tell him I play accordion. I've got a Cordovox, one of those electronic accordions, and good, what kind of tunes? And we talk over the phone and gets a sense of comfort. Leave it at that, and calls me a couple days later. I got a gig this weekend I could really use your help on, because there's no piano in the place where you're playing. It was a Newton Country Club, I think. I go, all right, great. I go, but the only thing is you'll have to pick me up at the dorm, because I didn't have a car at that time. No problem. So remember, he picks me up at the dorm. Now, you got to admit, it's '69. I've got this long beard, and I actually had hair then, okay? I mean, long hair. Picks me up at my dorm, and he never really mentions anything about the hair or the beard. I figure we talk music on the phone, so he knows he's not getting some, rock and roll psychedelic accordion player. Takes me to his house. He introduces me to his son, Tim, who would have been 14 or 15 at the time. This was going to be Tim's first gig as a drummer. So it's the two of us, and a couple minutes later, in walks this guitar player that's going to lead the group, Ray Bush. Hoy introduces Ray to Tim and I, and Ray Bush goes, Don, you got a minute? I need you in the other room. Go in the other room, and I hear through the door Ray Bush going, you got to be kidding me. You're sending me out on a gig with some hippie accordion player and a 14-year-old drummer?
There's a lot of guys in Des Moines that I worked with and never would have been able to without having the experience of working with him. So a lot of great players, yeah.
Dave Puffett was holding down the baritone sax chair at that time.
It seems to me that at one time he had a string, or a personnel file, I should say, of about 90 players that he used.
Joe Varnish played on Don's band at some point, which was Don East, great piano player from Des Moines. Jim Ritter played with Don Hoy's band from time to time. Nick Mon was the piano player that was there all the time for most of the time I was there.
Tom Lane, of course, as I recall, was a special. I got to know Tom very well on that bus. We would sit on that bus and talk music, jazz, for hours and hours, and just to pass the time away on the long trips. And that was that's how Tom and I developed our friendship.
Charlie Flanders played lead or second trumpet. Carlos. Mel Rubis played bass sometimes. There was a guy named Keith Green who was a great bass player who played with Don for most of the time in the 60s. And he was a fantastic walking bass player and kept great time. I took over for Harry Nelson, who was playing drums at the time in the early 60s.
Davy Paulson was playing tenor. Lead alto was Greg Everett.
Wayne Lage played lead saxophone.